Life emerges, and one day it ends. In between, time passes. Over time, minds and bodies change. Along life's journey, there is a time to play, a time to learn, and a time to breed. A time to share life's lessons. Those who reach old age are fortunate. They have overcome every danger. But inevitably, they must say goodbye. Aging, it's a passage through time, and no two paths are the same. The urge to reproduce is one of life's most powerful driving forces. In the animal kingdom, each individual is on a quest to survive, reproduce, and raise young. Some are more successful than others. Selenke, mother of many young lions who have now become mothers themselves, is still fertile, even as a great-great-grandmother. Nobody knows this lioness better than biologist Stephanie Dorenry.
You can age lions by using their teeth, the color of their teeth, actually, and the wear on their teeth. In the wild, lions generally live up to 14 years of age. There have been a few individuals in protected areas that have made it to about 17 years of age.
Armed with her camera, Stephanie patrols Amboseli National Park and the surrounding area. She has observed this lioness for over 10 years. She's watched her grow up. She first met Selenke in 2007. In the early days, this young lioness stayed mostly within the boundaries of the park, a protected area. Around the age of 3, she and her 2 sisters left the park, straying into the lands of the Maasai. As they explored their new surroundings, they met Lomaniak, a handsome male. Finding him an attractive father for her young, Selenke decided to stay. His territory became her new home. Selenke is now just over 10 years old. Since her first glimpse of this lioness, Stephanie has followed her many pregnancies. 19 so far. Many different fathers have come and gone over the years. Males contribute very little to bringing up lion cubs.
Selenke is our best mother. She's a fabulous mother. She has very high survival rates of all of her cubs. She always makes sure her cubs are fed and fed well and taken care of and protected.
The lion's share of raising these babies falls to their mother. Selenke has not only taken care of her own cubs, but those of others as well.
Her sister Elekan would get interested in male and would leave Selenke with her cubs. So Selenke actually would raise 2 litters of cubs on her own and was able to do this quite successfully. So she's a fantastic mother.
Cubs are weaned at about 8 months, but depend on their mothers for at least another year. Mastering the art of camouflage and planning a sneak attack requires a lot of practice. By 2 years of age, these cubs will be ready for their first real hunt. In the meantime, Selenke must feed them.
Selenke is, in many ways, she's just like any other lion, but there are some key differences. I think she's very bold. She's able to do whatever it takes to get food for her cubs. She's bold enough to, at night, sneak into communities and jump into a livestock corral to take a goat.
Killing cattle is a major misdeed in the eyes of the Maasai. It is not Selenke's first offense, and not likely to be her last. To protect their herds, villagers sometimes poison lions or kill them with spears. Livestock are an important part of their culture.
Selenke has been hunted probably more than any other lion in this ecosystem. One sister, Nautica, was speared and killed. One speared, one poisoned. Selenke, she was very, very lucky to survive. Many lions get killed before they turn 10 years old.
So far, almost miraculously, Selenke has escaped being killed by villagers. To avoid lion killings, Stephanie has devised a solution. She is co-founder of the conservation organization Lion Guardians, named for the careful protection provided to the lions with the cooperation of villagers.
So Selenke, we have recently put a collar on her, so the Guardians can keep closer track of her. They can alert herders when she's in a certain area, and they help the herders then move their cattle away from where Selenke is found.
Engasa ako aipang sari kabila rondobangi na yongol khege lolo garak te yiri anangasa yulowi neri naira pahingi asa lolo garak wa ta sigiri te yiri anarana na bai ningi hu aira pai.
We've seen her change her behavior and adapt to killing species that lions generally don't take, such as ostrich. There was one month Selenke and her family took 10 ostrich in a month, and you just don't hear about that. I really believe part of the success comes from Selenke's knowledge and will to survive. She's adapted to this landscape. And that's something that we've seen pass that knowledge on to her offspring. She has cubs every year and a half. She's having another litter, and she keeps almost all of them alive.
Selenke's line now extends to 5 generations. Each of her cubs has inherited the qualities of their influential mother. She is the most successful female around. She may breed less often as she ages, but she could continue producing cubs until the end of her life.
To watch Selenke age in the wild, and to watch Selenke's family all growing and aging in the wild is, well, really words can't describe it. She's made a life out here, and she's a true survivor. the guardians themselves just become so invested in one individual who has brought them so many problems. They continue to fight, and it's truly inspirational.
In nature, survival and reproduction are constant challenges. Close to Limoges, in France, a hunt is underway, with the whole village taking part. This is no ordinary hunt. It's a scientific survey repeated year after year. They are not hunting to kill. On the contrary, they want these deer to live a long time. Aging expert Jean-Michel Gaillard leads the research. In studying these deer, he is hoping to uncover some of the secrets of aging.
Le chevreuil est surtout considéré comme un modèle d'étude. Un des objectifs de nos recherches, donc sur l'étude du vieillissement, est conduit par la motivation de mieux comprendre notre propre vieillissement, donc le vieillissement humain. On a besoin de trajectoires individuelles, c'est-à-dire la trajectoire, c'est suivre un individu depuis sa naissance jusqu'à sa mort et suivre un certain nombre de traits pour voir s'il y a une variation de ces traits avec l'âge ou pas.
A fawn is born, grows into an adult, and reaches its prime before it gradually declines in vigor with old age. Researchers want to understand how this decline begins. To do this, they study a variety of factors over time. One of them is the capacity to reproduce. In this species, males contribute nothing beyond fertilization. The females are the ones who nurse and care for the calves from birth until they can fend for themselves. The research team is here to conduct their annual checkup.
Elle est née en 2014. Là, elle, on va lui faire un bilan de santé complet. Prise de sang, prélèvement de crotte, prélèvement de poils.
Ah, il y a des tiques.
Là, aujourd'hui, il y a une équipe de Nantes qui vient même prélever les tiques.
The data they've collected since the study began has cleared up many misconceptions.
La sénescence, c'est le déclin de la performance avec l'âge. À l'époque, fin des années 80, la communauté scientifique pensait encore que bien, le phénomène de sénescence dans la nature, c'était quelque chose qui n'était pas du tout fréquent, voire qui était plutôt exceptionnel. On pense que dans la nature, les animaux meurent dans un environnement hostile de prédation, de maladies, d'accidents, bien avant d'avoir atteint l'âge auquel les phénomènes de vieillissement se manifestent.
Following these deer closely for so many years has led to a paradigm shift. It's changed how we think about senescence in deer.
Et on s'aperçoit que, ben oui, dans la nature, on peut détecter de la sénescence. Il y a bien un déclin des performances, un peu similaire à ce que l'on observe chez l'homme.
Deer can live to the age of 12, but most won't live that long. There are some exceptions. The oldest known female lived to the age of 17 and a half. The oldest male reached the age of 14.
C'est une chevrette qu'on a déjà capturée.
The doe, or female deer, can start to breed from the age of 2.
Donc là, sur l'écran, je vois que des zones grises, que du tissu.
En ce qui concerne la production des femelles, il est clair qu'il y a un phénomène de sénescence, donc cette diminution de performance avec l'âge, très marquée.
Scientists don't usually discuss menopause in deer, but data from this research team suggests that it does occur.
Après 11 ans, la probabilité d'avoir des embryons diminue très très fortement.
Apparemment, elle est vide. Donc, résultat négatif au niveau de la gestation.
Females between the age of 2 and 11 have an equal probability of producing fawns. The most important factor affecting their ability to reproduce is not age, but weight. If they weigh less than 20 kilograms, they are unlikely to conceive. Between 20 and 22 kilograms, they will give birth to one fawn. And if they are heavier than 22 kilograms, they produce twins or sometimes even triplets. In the wild, females with the most energy reserves, in the form of fat, are the ones who are able to produce the most young.
Là, on voit bien l'embryon sur l'écran. On cherche à savoir s'il y en a un deuxième. Chez le chevreuil, il y a souvent des gestations gémellaires.
Donc cette femelle est née en 2003 et donc elle a été capturée pour la première fois quand elle était chevrillard en février 2004 et elle pesait déjà 17,4 kg, ce qui est nettement au-dessus de la moyenne.
335.
Et adulte, elle a fait jusqu'à 27 kg quand elle avait 6 ans. Les femelles de très bonne qualité qui vont vivre vieilles produisent leurs faons généralement tôt en saison.
This long-term data helps the researchers understand the progress of senescence in the wild. The picture emerging is providing a new perspective. Previously, it was thought that in nature, senescence came suddenly, with many of the body systems breaking down all at once.
Avec ce qu'on connaît aujourd'hui, on peut clairement dire que ce n'est pas le cas et qu'en fait, les fonctions ne commencent pas à diminuer en performance au même moment.
In humans, just like in animals, as time passes, our bodies undergo a slow physical decline. Scientists refer to this idea that different systems of our body decline at different rates as mosaic aging. In deer, one element of aging is a gradual loss of weight. This usually happens after a deer reaches the age of 8. As a direct consequence, the ability to reproduce declines and eventually stops.
Il n'y a pas de trou, elle n'a pas perdu sa bague.
Un de nos objectifs, c'est d'essayer de voir si cette séquence est généralisable à des espèces proches, par exemple les ongulés, puis voir à l'ensemble des mammifères, à l'ensemble des vertébrés, donc voir un petit peu comment ça fonctionne.
Ils vont t'emmener, va avec eux, va.
On a l'impression que chaque fonction a sa propre réponse à la dépendance en l'âge. Et donc ça peut être aussi très important pour l'homme, puisque c'est pareil, on ne s'attend pas à ce que toutes les fonctions commencent à régresser à un même âge.
As we learn more about these deer, we learn more about ourselves. This forest, home to generations of deer, continues to reveal some of its secrets about senescence. Newfoundland. This is a land of fishermen. Whales and birds. The great schools of Capelin are back, and gannets fill the skies again. It's spring. And for these birds, that means breeding time has arrived. Gannets form pairs that mate for life. This steep cliff turns into a gigantic noisy nursery. Maybe this juvenile will soon find a partner for life. Bill Montevecchi is one of the region's foremost seabird experts. He's here to count the number of breeding pairs and assess the health of the colony.
This colony is significant for a lot of reasons. The southernmost gannet colony in the world. And there are only 6 gannet colonies in North America.
These birds can live up to the age of about 20, so long-term studies are essential. Research is a risky business on these steep cliffs.
Usually if I can touch the bird with the noose and it doesn't freak him out, we can catch him. Okay. I've got the bird. Okay.
Once the bird is captured, the researchers put a band on its leg.
Good. I'll get the black cloth from Leanne. We cover the eyes, hold the wings. Yeah, this is just a twist on, so it's as good as it's gonna get. Perfect. It's all right. It just ease a soft release. Perfect. Done.
One day, this bird may return and provide valuable information about gannets' lives. Gannets begin reproducing at the age of 5. Each spring, a pair produces 1 chick. Both parents are devoted caregivers. Their chick is never left unattended. For 3 months, both parents will work endlessly. The feeding trips are relentless, as is their baby's appetite. One parent babysits while the other goes fishing. The sea is their pantry. Spotting the fish is one thing. Catching it is another. It requires practice. Zipping through the water like torpedoes, they can dive up to 20 meters deep. It's quite a spectacle. But the fish are fast. Gannet wings become underwater flippers. This was a good fishing trip. The chick's appetite will be quelled, at least for now. By probing inside its parent's open beak, the chick will get its dinner, a fresh and partially regurgitated fish. These cliffs are crowded, so parents also need to watch out for nasty neighbors and their sharp beaks. One step closer to this neighbor could prove deadly. The dedication of their parents means that most chicks will reach adulthood. But constant parental attention could not save the chicks from disaster in 2012.
In 3 of the last 4 years, we've had extremely hot water, and that's affected the gannets. In fact, in 2012, on the 8th of August, 25,000 birds left here. That white rock is bare except for chicks.
That year, all of the chicks died. Capelin, the gannets' favorite food, changed their habits. Capelin don't like warm water, so these fish had moved down into deeper, colder waters that even these skillful divers couldn't reach.
Gannets, they could dive to 20 meters. If the fish is at 30 meters, because it's in colder water, there can be more fish, but for a gannet, there's no fish. So it's all those contingencies that we try and tap into, and there's a lot of them. And that's essentially what our studies have been. How can they respond to this climate change? How can they respond to this hot water? How can they do that and still be successful at breeding and raising their offspring?
Gannets did return to Cape St. Mary's, but their ability to breed successfully remains precarious. For now, the capelin have returned, allowing the gannets to feed their babies. Whales also benefit from the abundance of capelin. But as the gannet navigates between land and sea, its future in a changing and fragile environment is uncertain. This population now lives in troubled waters. These long-lived birds can afford some bad breeding years. But for this colony to persist into the future, the bounty of the sea will be vital. The Badongo Research Center is home to a community of chimpanzees. To watch this large primate is to see an animal that is uncannily familiar. Chimps are our closest genetic relative, and a species that has long sparked the curiosity of researchers. Chimpanzees are a window into our own behavior. In the world of chimpanzees, sexual interactions have a major influence on their society. Breeding begins in adolescence and can continue into old age.
They're just resting. They've been feeding and Night was grooming Nambi.
Catherine Hobater has watched these chimps for a long time. She knows every member of the Sanso community. Documenting their daily activities, she has witnessed many births and watched these youngsters grow up.
Chimps are born pretty strong. Even little infants who are a few days old are holding tightly to their mum's fur. Once they're a few weeks old or a couple of months, they're swinging about in the canopy with one hand 40 meters up. So they're fairly well developed at a young age. One of the key transitions when you're younger is all of the baby chimps have a little white cottontail, like a bunny rabbit, and they start to lose that as they get a little bit older. That little white tail's maybe just a signal to everybody else in the group, you know, don't hit me, I'm a baby. If I do something wrong, it's, you know, not my fault.
Around the age of 10, chimps undergo physical and hormonal changes. Males get more muscular, and females come into heat for the first time. A chimpanzee can live to the age of 50. As chimps reach old age, they get slower and less energetic.
It's really similar to us. You get a little bit more long-sighted, so you see if they need to look at something, it's like us holding a newspaper. They kind of suddenly have to hold it that little bit further away to see it properly. That gets more and more pronounced, and right at the very end of their life, they might struggle to climb some of the bigger trees or prefer to rest on the ground instead of swinging about in the canopy quite as much.
Chimpanzees live in groups. For them, social status is very important. Their lives are highly politicized. Chimps have alliances, rivalries, and betrayals.
When you're one of the bigger guys, the advantage of being high up in the hierarchy is when the girls are in estrus, you're going to get access to them. If there's good food that's around, you're going to be in the best position, eating the best figs in the tree. So there's a big plus to being in the top ranks.
All sorts of strategies are used to establish dominance. Scaring and threatening your opponent. Fighting. Wielding a big stick. But in choosing your battles, it's unwise to take on someone stronger than yourself. Zig has learned that the hard way. He lost his left eye in a fight.
Zig is a young male who's had a pretty tough life, and he's one of the outsiders in the group. He's got a bad hand, he's got one eye missing, and he doesn't get very much social attention from any of the other males. Nobody grooms him. You've got Frank, one of the big guys, he's one of the big personalities in the male chimps, sitting just behind Zig. And Quera comes over, and she's got her new little baby with her. And Quera comes up to Frank and greets him, totally ignoring Zig. Quera's baby pops off and sort of looks around and just comes straight up to Zig. You know, the little infants they don't care about the politics in the group. Kalima comes over, the other female, and when she comes in, she greets Frank, and all the young ones come back, and everyone there is kind of interacting and grooming and doing everything that chimps normally would do to each other, but poor Zig's left sitting on the path a few meters away, just kind of watching from the outside again. So, tough life.
Social structure is not restricted to males. Females have their own hierarchy. Females and males do not form stable pairs. There is no monogamy in chimpanzees. This female is nearly 50. Few individuals reach this age. Scientists have seen females this old have babies, but it is rare. According to Catherine Hobader, this female is no longer fertile. She is still interested in the males. But the interest is not reciprocated.
We don't know. There's just not that many chimps that reach this point in their life, so we really don't know. And it's one of the behaviors that makes us think that Nambi is in that possibly menopausal period, that even when she cycles, the big guys just aren't interested in her anymore. It's hard to tell, but it must be really strange for her being the dominant alpha female for so many years.
Zig, from where he sits, can only observe the comings and goings of his peers. His chances of mating are very slim.
Zig, and so he's sitting on the edge of the group, kind of watching what's going on. And suddenly around the corner, Caro comes. Caro's a young teenage female.
Caro just reached sexual maturity and is looking to mate.
She's having her first estrus cycles at the moment, but because she was born in Sonso, then the Sonso boys just aren't interested in her.
Caro could be their daughter or their cousin. Males normally prefer females born outside of their social group. This prevents the genetic problems that can come with inbreeding. But Zig, like most low-ranking males, ignores this rule. Caro is about to try her luck. Zig has a rare opportunity.
She's going up to copulate with Zig.
With the act consummated, Caro slips away before she is seen by her peers.
Zig then took some leaves and wiped his penis, so they'll clean themselves after sex, and they might smell that just to maybe get an idea of perhaps if Caro was ovulating or not, so some of those hormonal things. But fingers crossed, maybe that's one of the few chances Zig has to get to be a father.
In 8 months, Caro may give birth to Zig's baby. Sometimes nature makes exceptions. From these daily dramas, a complex society emerges. It's a different world, yet in some ways, it's reminiscent of our own. At the University of Michigan Edwin S. George Reserve, a retired researcher is checking up on 3 turtle species that he has followed since the 1970s. He has been delving into the lives of blandings, snapping, and painted turtles.
These are called hoop traps. Turtles swim around bouncing off the edges, and they never swim in the middle, and so they can't find their way out.
Each turtle is individually marked with a code. Each time it's captured, the researchers gain another layer of turtle history. These turtles can live for so long that understanding them could take a lifetime.
You can see that they smile at frog jokes. There we go. Aging is certainly a key interest of mine. I realized that the longevity of these organisms in the wild was incredible. For example, we caught an 82-year-old Blandings turtle. The 82-year-old female was reproductive. It was on land looking for a place to nest when it was captured.
The secrets of longevity and reproduction in animals have long fascinated biologists like Congdon.
This was the first nest of the nesting season. It's still there. But the snapping turtle would be sitting right here, and the eggs are right there.
Spring is breeding time. In turtle liaisons, copulation is the male's only contribution to the next generation. The female does the rest. She seeks out a safe spot to lay up to 20 eggs. Older females are more successful breeders. They can lay eggs more often. The incubation temperature of the eggs determines the sex of the babies. Usually, the eggs buried deepest become males. Those above are more likely to be females.
They're pretty close to 1-to-1 sex ratio in adults. And how they manage that, they have 200 million years of existing with this temperature-dependent sex determination, so they probably got it worked out.
When the female finishes laying her eggs, she carefully covers them with sand. And then the eggs are left to incubate and hatch all alone.
3 years of this study, that's 3 out of 30, we had 100% of all observed nests destroyed by predators. Seeing raccoons, they will sit there while she's laying eggs, and literally, we've seen this, put their paw under there and catch the egg before it even hits the ground, and eat it, and then put its paw back.
Some of the eggs will be discovered and eaten by predators. But that's not the only danger. A good nest site is critical. Successful incubation of the eggs requires the warmth of the sun. This site has become overgrown with trees and is now too shady.
It has really affected nest survivorship of Blanding's turtles. Spent a lifetime researching here, and I just want to see it go on.
Professor Congdon's data suggests that older turtles know the best places for food. This seems to be true for both males and females.
The older animals seem to know their environment, their core area, better than younger animals do. And as a result, they exploit resources in a more efficient manner, and that would explain how they have the resources to reproduce more frequently and produce larger offspring than younger ones. Yeah, it was pretty good. So this is the longest lived of the 3 species, Blanding's turtle. Oh my God, he disappeared. Oh, there he is. Age 1, year of life 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. This is an incredibly pretty animal. We're taking this one home.
Congdon can then examine all of his subjects in the comfort of his laboratory. He has dedicated his life to uncovering these turtles' secrets. He wonders if they might help reveal another piece of the longevity puzzle.
You should be interested in non-human models of aging because they may give you a clue about senescence, which extends the quality of life, would be, to me, more important than extending the duration, particularly if the quality of the last 20 years is terrible. We should think of this study as the beginning of immortality. I wish mine aging was as slow as the turtles. I would like to feel as young as they do. Okay, we're done. That's it, I think.
In nature, life's journey can take many different paths. For many species, their eggs are their legacy.
I certainly hope to be back next year.